Just tell us, man. What do you do? What is it that you do? The work? Who are you? Who's Oliver? Uh, People are gonna watch this. They won't know who you are. So shoot for it.
All right. So yeah, my name is Oliver, for whoever's watching, and I think defining myself as a coach has been a challenge. I think if I was to put any kind of label on it, it would be mostly an inner work coach slash mindset. Although that's a very broad category, but I mostly just work with men um, on helping them with their mind, basically, like kind of in the realm of therapy, but a lot more goal oriented, um, a lot more focused on certain things. Because I've done this for a few years now. I've worked
Yeah.
with between 100 and 200 men at this point. Realistically, I know that a lot of coaches are like, I've worked with thousands, and they're basically saying like they're counting their views on YouTube and stuff. Of
Yeah.
like people I've helped thousands of people. It's like
Yeah.
name them, name all of them, then. But no,
Yeah.
realistically, between 100 and 200 is my body count, so to speak.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, at this point, I've kind of managed to identify some pretty common things that come up for men specifically.
Okay. Okay.
So I basically help them. Ultimately, it's if we were going to kind of come up with the outcome, it's confidence really. It's confidence, but
Mm.
it's also healing the stuff that's been holding them back for their whole life, perhaps, but they're not actually aware of how to get at
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had trouble with that, defining what I do. Uh, we went through together, didn't we? That period where I was kind of like, all right, well, do I call myself a dating coach then because I've got to fit myself neatly into the health, wealth, relationships thing? Otherwise, no one will hire me. So I was like, right,
Yeah.
I've got to be a dating coach. Then that didn't feel aligned, although a lot of
Yeah.
what I do does benefit that. Same with the money thing. I was like, right, how can I help people get rich or make money? And again, same thing. But now it's just
Okay. What happened when you tried to be like the mainstream? Like everyone tells you, be this certain coach, be this certain way, do this certain thing. What happened when you tried to be that person? Whether it was dating, whether it was money, whether it was YouTube, whether it was coffee, what happened?
I felt out of integrity, to be honest. Yeah, I felt out of integrity. I felt like I was just trying to,
Yeah.
the whole idea of being a, square peg, trying to fit, you're trying to fit a round peg into a square hole, or the other way around, whichever one it is. Felt like I
Yeah.
was trying to do that, which meant that I was jumping on sort of sales calls with people, and I felt like I was trying to convince them of something that I wasn't fully bought into either. I felt out of alignment,
Mm.
basically. It wasn't my expertise, it wasn't my experience, so to speak. I felt like I was just kind of faking it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
So
happened
obviously that
for a
didn't
while,
work.
yeah?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it had been happening for a while, a long time, years even before I came to you. It was like a year previous where I really went in on the whole dating thing, and I was trying to sort of ignore
Yeah.
the fact that I was out of integrity. I felt out
Yeah.
of alignment. I was like, no, 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 I am a dating coach. See, there's a reason that I can convince people. It's like I'm trying to just convince myself, basically. And it was all based on money fears. It
Yeah.
was based on just beliefs about whether people will hire me, about beliefs about whether I'll
Mm.
make any money, about fears that, oh, I'm going to be compared to therapists. I'm not going to be enough compared to therapists for some reason. That was a weird one that
Yeah.
was there for a bit. Um, but yeah, that's one of the things I'm I'm super glad we moved past. And it's kind of funny because after going all in on the dating coaching thing, it led to basically nothing. Um, and the same thing, although I didn't do it for as long with the sort of being like a writing coach online, which I could also
Mm.
do if I wanted. But yeah, success only really came when I sort of dropped all that baggage and was like, right, just talk about what it is that I want to talk about, and
Yeah.
invite people to work with me on the regular. It really isn't as complicated as I was making it seem.
Yeah, you realize that success isn't this maze that you have to go through. It's basically just go back to the fundamentals. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is that. It really is that. And then I'm just remembering conversations I had with friends where they kind of just were pointing out the same thing in a way, but I wasn't listening at the time. It's just like, is this like I used to get myself into real head some serious like mental screw ups about what do I call myself? What do I put in my bio? I change my bio every 5 minutes. Like, oh no, okay, I found the
Mhm.
right bio. That's who I am. And then a day later, I'm like, oh god, but it doesn't sound right. And then I would look at other creators and be like, oh, they seem to have it all figured out. And I look shit by comparison, so I've got to be more like them. And I'd spend months and even years just trying to be like this guy, and then feeling wrong about it and be like, oh, that's not me. And I'll be like
Yeah,
that guy. And it's like lack of identity, not really knowing what it is that I stand for and what it is that I actually
yeah,
really want to
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah. Not knowing
So
where you want to fit basically in the market.
yeah, and this would also make me super inconsistent. You know, like right
Mhm.
down to if I look back on my YouTube channel, right down
By the
to
way,
the
give some
thumbnail.
context because you spoke about the YouTube channel. So just give some context because I don't want people to think that you're a beginner and you started off as a beginner. You already had some things going on. So give some context and continue from there. Because the niche
Yeah, no,
problem is not just for beginners. So that's what we need to
yeah,
understand.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good shout. So contextually, when I came to Arnold, had already I was on like 15K subscribers on YouTube. I'd made shit tons of videos. I was writing articles. I'd like gone into the whole marketing thing. I'd improved my marketing skills, video creation. I'd previously signed up a bunch of clients in the past. I had worked with quite a lot of men by that point.
Yeah.
I'd even had, signed up some high ticket clients at that point
Yeah.
over the phone. So it's not like I was starting from zero. But the most frustrating thing for me was um, I always felt just this complete inconsistency.
Mm.
Um, sorry, Arnold, my headset's ran out of battery. Can you still hear me though?
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty
Oh,
clear. Yeah.
okay, sweet. Yeah, well, the frustrating thing was I always felt this inconsistency where I could never gain any traction. Where I was kind of like, I'd go in this direction for a bit, and then I get a couple of clients, but then something internally would just fall to bits, and I'd be back at square one, thinking, "Who am I? What am I doing?" Again,
Yeah.
like
Mm.
self-sabotaging.
This is
It's
a
really,
big problem for a lot of people. I do agree with that.
yeah, and that led to the niche hopping and the competitor copying and all this other stuff. It's almost like I felt that my brand and what I did lacked the core clarity of of what separates me, what makes me me, what do I, what value do I uniquely add. It was missing the core, so I was constantly trying to find the core outside of myself all the time. But yeah, previous to you, man, I'd had some fairly lucrative months as well. Like if I look back on my Stripe over the years, like bloody hell, I did well that month, but my income was like feast or famine, and that's why I felt
Yeah.
so frightened. And they fed the money fears because I was like, I have no idea what next month's going to look like. One month it's like, bam, I did really well, but it felt like pure luck. It's like this guy just seen one of my YouTube videos, and he came to
Mm.
me because for some reason in his own mind was like, this guy, I'll work with him, and I
Yeah.
managed to like say the right things on the call and sign him up. I'm like, holy shit, that did well. But then the following months there was no system in place or consistency, so my income dropped, and I'd self sabotage again and not publish a video for 3 months. And it was this. If I look back on my Stripe account, honestly, if I look back like 2 years, I'm just seeing like needles and then and then peaks and then valleys like this, and I'm like, that was one of the reasons why I was so like I was freaking out about money so much because I didn't know. I had no faith in the future. So I was trying
Yeah.
to find that perfect niche or that perfect bio that once I
Mm.
found it would just get clients lining up like crazy. Um, which obviously is not the case. Like I could have found the perfect bio and I would have still had the same problem.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I knew it wasn't my first rodeo when I reached out to you. But I had finally got just completely tired of it. Because
Mm.
I reached a point where my income was so like it was feast or famine, but then it was like for 3 straight months it was pure famine. but I had something like I still wasn't taking any action. But then I had basically no money. I had to get my flatmates to pay my rent for me, which was only like €350. I was in a house, like a flat share in Lisbon, and I was just so I felt so, like, honestly felt pathetic. I was like, am I really asking? Like, by basically saying, can you guys pay my rent for me? I'm saying that there's something in me that means I can't figure this shit out on my own.
Mm.
So I then became a writer, like an online copywriter, basically. Did fairly well with it, managed to get myself out of the financial shit and relieve all the pressure. But then I had the same problem where, well, I had a problem where I was writing 3,000 words a day of other people's brands. And
Yep.
all the while, I was working with these brands that were doing really well. And then I was getting a look into the back end, and I was like, am I really not capable of creating something like this myself? Like, do I have to be a script writer or a copywriter for people who basically are more competent than me? Like, this isn't
Yeah.
actually that difficult to do. So I was traveling in Thailand. I went to Thailand. I'd saved up some money, which was, it was decreasing, and I was writing 2 to 3,000 words a day while trying to travel in Thailand. So I was spending all day scripting, and I couldn't actually enjoy anything. So I was like, I eventually got so tired of it that I thought, you know what, the options can't be work like a dog or nothing. Like, there has to be something in between.
And I remember it's not just work like a dog. You were working for someone that you didn't align with. So it's like clients that you just didn't like working with.
Yeah, and to get specific, I was writing for a YouTube channel focused on the red pill. Now, and for anyone who's watching who doesn't know what the red pill is, it's basically a subsection of the internet, of the manosphere. So it's like a community of men that have certain beliefs and stuff. It's a bit like an ideology, and it's very controversial, and there's lots of slightly misogynistic stuff in there, if not full-blown misogynistic if you read the comments. And I was using my writing skill in service of that channel, and it was growing like crazy. The guy was loving the script. He was like, these are brilliant. The comments, his channel shot up after I was writing for him, and I was like, I feel like I'm using a skill in the service of something I deeply do not align with. That might even be, in my estimation, creating more of a problem. Because part of my mission is to help men heal the wounding that makes their life less enjoyable, at the very least, and at the worst, it can get really bad. And I was actually writing for a channel that was not bringing a man's attention to his own wounding and to deal with it. It was like, no, women are the problem. And I was basically creating scripts that all just said that. And then that's when I came across your stuff. And I thought, you know what? If I could sign up one client, one sort of high ticket client a month.
I remember that statement as if it was yesterday, man. As if it was yesterday.
One, not two, 3, 4, 5, 10, one single high ticket client a month, I would be making at least a bit more than what I'm making from this scripting channel. And I'm like, I always had to have a word with myself. I was like, Oliver, are you telling me with all your skills in content creation, marketing, coaching, branding, the whole shebang, you can't get one person a month? And I was like, right, fuck that. I'd had enough. Like, my ego got involved. I was like, nah, that's it. I can't be doing that. I'm not writing for this guy's channel anymore. So yeah, basically I fired the guy. I finished my final few weeks, and I was in communication with you as we transitioned, kind of thing. And luckily, I had a bit of money saved up, so it wasn't going to be such a shock of a change.
Yeah.
But honestly, man, I've never looked back. I've never looked back.
Yeah.
It's probably the best thing I've done career-wise. It's the best money I've invested career-wise. This year has been the year that it's completely changed. After years of struggling, feast or famine, confusion, lack of clarity, not knowing what I'm doing, this year has been monumental, mate. Insane.
I would like you, man, to go a little bit into the changes that happened, but I want you to go deep into yourself a little bit, because okay, like the business side, things changed, income, things change. We're gonna talk about the numbers, all of that. We'll get to those, but like, what happened with you? That's the most important part, because what happens in the business is a reflection of the person themselves. So you said right now that the business has changed. It has been an insane year. The last couple of months have been insane, which is great. We're going to talk about the numbers. So for someone who wants the numbers, stick around. But you, that's what's important. That's what people miss out on. You, what happened?
Honestly, I'm still trying to. I'm still in the process of deconstructing what happened, because there
Yeah.
were a few phases where I basically went into that old self-sabotaging pattern again.
Yeah.
And I absolutely know for a fact that if I'd not had you there to kind of bring me back to center again, or to help me sort of realize some stuff, I would have gone in search of the perfect niche again. I would have just gone off the deep end again.
Yeah.
But one thing I think I'll try and condense it down to the things I know to be true. The money fears, like the belief that if I go in the direction of basically helping men heal, the belief was previously that that will mean I will be a broke therapist. I will end up being just one of these sweater wearing broke therapists charging $30 an hour,
Yeah.
working with clients that give them a headache and a fucking hernia later on in life because of the stress, you know. And I'm like, at the time, I was thinking, shit, man, if I go in that direction, that's my destiny. I'll just end up being a frustrated therapist who works with people who are, because a therapist by definition works with, unless they market themselves and brand themselves effectively, will work with everybody. That's what what a therapist does, right? I felt like it would be a prison in a way. It's one of the reasons I didn't become a therapist, because I trained for a couple of years in therapy, but I didn't do the rest of it because I felt like I'd be in a box too.
Yeah.
So I felt like if I went that direction, I wouldn't make any money. And I know for a fact that that belief has completely changed. Not only has it changed, it's completely rewired into a new belief, which I genuinely know to be true now from evidence, is that no. Not only is the idea that I won't make any money false, I will actually make more money going in that direction because I'm in integrity. Like, it's the integrity first.
Yes.
And it obviously, I mean, we can even think about it practically. Like, if I'm out of integrity and I get on a sales call with someone, I really think people don't notice when they think they're being sold to.
And it happened. That's the thing. It happened.
Yeah, I look back at some of the recorded sales calls, and if I watch them back, which I haven't had the courage to do yet, but if I did, I would know. I'm like, oh, I'd be cringing because I'm like, I don't believe the words I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, neither would the guy. Why would anyone?
Conviction, man. That's really important point. Yeah, that's a big shift. Like, the money fear is just gone, and not just the money fears, the cause of the money fears, which was like, would I be this therapist? So that was gone. What else would you feel that changed within you? I know, like, for a fact, like, emotions wise, like, much more stoic, much more present, much more powerful. But like, share a bit more. What do you want to share about?
Yeah. Again, when it comes to the causes, still deconstructing it, still in a process of becoming aware of it. But I just I'll just talk about an effect. I no longer carry around with me this neurotic, just this constant fear of whatever it is that I'm going to do. Like, I'll give you an example. For the past couple of years, I've had this kind of image in my mind that, traveling, like, at some point when I stop traveling around, I'm going to, like, this image I have is I've got a nice apartment in a cool location. I've got an office podcast studio space that I've decorated properly. I've made it soundproof. I've got the microphone in front of me. This is like my place to create.
Yeah.
I've got a dog. I've got a nice kitchen because I love cooking. I've got this. I've had this image in my mind for like 2 years, and I remember because if I look back on the vision board I made 2 years ago, this is what I'm seeing. But it's always kind of been this, like whenever I think about it, previously there'd be this fear coming up of, oh my god, what if I can't afford it? What if I don't have the money? What if it all falls to bits? Like, all this weird like what if scenarios.
Yeah.
And, well, and actually before I say the next thing, that's this fear of that, which is actually what I want to create deep down, is a home base. Because I'm more of a homebody than a traveller, to be honest. The fear of that and the money fears led me to go into thinking I have to just spend my time being a nomad in low income countries, in like low, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
countries
Thailand,
where
Vietnam. Yeah.
Thailand, Vietnam. I thought to myself, oh well, I can't possibly say, for example, live in Portugal because I'll never be able to afford that. So
By
my
the way,
only
there's
option.
a tiger when it comes to that. Like, we're gonna reach it. What happened with the vision? But anyway, keep on going on that point.
Yeah. Well, that was it. I just thought that, I'm just going to be, basically, that's it. That's my lot. I can only live in countries where
Yeah.
everything's super cheap. So it's like Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, which deep down I didn't want to live there because it's too far away from my family back in England. And I love my family very much. So it's like, oh God, that was all a mess. Like I didn't know what I was creating. My vision wasn't very clear. It was driven by my fears, basically. Now, it's been, that whole neurosis has been replaced with this weird feeling, this weird sense of like, no, this is what I'm doing. Like I'm apartment shopping, right? Like before this call, I was apartment shopping. Not a cheap apartment either. Like a fucking nice apartment in the south of Portugal, which is one of the most popular destinations in Europe for its natural beauty, beaches and national parks and stuff. And I'm like, no. And I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm not like, oh God, that's too expensive. No fear. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what the number is.
Yeah.
I'll make it work because I've never not paid a bill in my life. So it's like this confidence. It's like, sure, that's how much it is. I'll do a budget. I'll make sure I make some more YouTube videos. I'll make the thing work. But what I won't do is freak out about it and be like, oh God, I can't do that. It's like, no, I can do whatever I want. I can do whatever I set my mind to. So it's been replaced by this certainty of what I want to do. Like I had my ex-flatmates. They reached out to me recently asking me what my next steps are. Now, previously, talking like a year ago, I would have got flustered. I wouldn't have really known what my next moves are. I would have been like, oh shit, I'm not really sure. I'm thinking of this, but I'm also thinking of this. And they'd just be like, okay, well, let us know when you know, kind of thing. But they were saying, what are your plans? And I was like, I'm getting an apartment in the south of Portugal. I'm going to adopt a dog. I'm going to stay there for 6 months. I'm going to go celibate. I'm creating 2 or 3 podcast episodes a week. I'm going to get jacked. And I didn't realize that that's how I sounded. But then, because they'd known me for years now, were like, wow, you're very certain about this. And I was like, yeah, I guess I am. I didn't even notice that change had happened.
Yeah.
But they did.
Clarity and confidence, man. Clarity and confidence.
Yeah, exactly. It's this knowing really that I will make it work.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, as well, we've joked about this a couple of times. I've managed to get the results that I've gotten while I've been the most ungrounded I've been in years. I'm talking new Airbnbs every week, jumping on flights, booking this and that, going on day trips and tours and all this stuff, dating as I'm traveling, not having the same gym or the same routine, waking up at different times every
training for a fight too, like everything.
I was training for a Muay Thai fight. I was also building my business somehow. So the knowledge that, look, well, if I did manage to achieve these business goals in that state,
yeah,
then I have no doubt, and it even makes me a little nervous how big this could possibly get when I actually dial in and focus. It's just nuts.
That's our next step. Yeah.
Yeah. So confidence, basically, certainty, clarity.
Beautiful. Before we move on into the business and strategy, systems, numbers, if like the person who's watching right now, if you were to give him one mindset tip or one emotional balance tip, like something that you've broke through in the last couple of months, some realization that you didn't expect to get from working with us, but you got at the end of the day, like what would that be for the person who's watching? Like if you could just give him this one tip that he could never forget for the rest of his life, what would it be from that angle, mindset wise, emotions wise?
I don't know if this quite neatly fits into the emotions and mindset wise, because there's a lot of things I could say. But I think one of the most important things I've taken away from and internalized from working with you is that our outputs, the things that we get, the things that we experience, the outcomes are always tied to the inputs. Always.
Yep.
And those outputs might take a little while. There's like a delay. You know, like when I started with you, I increased video production. Did I see immediate results? No. Did I freak out about that? Yeah. But you kept reminding me, it's like, no, there's a delay. There's always a delay. If you shift your inputs, you're not going to get an instant change in the outputs. And it's just reminded me to be patient and just to keep creating, keep the inputs up.
Yeah, very important.
And if this does affect the mental and emotional, because one problem I also had was impatience. I was like, right, I need to try this new niche, try this new video type. Oh shit, it didn't work. I should abandon it. It's like I'm giving nothing a chance. Like I got a YouTube coach who's grown multiple hundreds of thousands of subscriber channels to look at my channel. Halfway through, I was working together, and he just looked at my YouTube channel and was like, "There's no consistency here." He said some videos are 10 minutes long, some are 5 minutes long, some are 15 minutes long. He says your thumbnails are all different. I don't know who you're trying to be. I don't know what you're trying to do. And I was like, shit, man, that's exactly it. There's just a lack of consistency across the board. So the inputs and the outputs thing is a big,
beautiful,
which is nice as well, because whenever I'm thinking in future, if I get a month where it's dropped a little, look at the inputs. They're almost certainly going to be lower.
Yep. That's a very important point, because you started off the call with saying like the roller coaster months, the feast and famine cycle, and all of that. And pretty much that's it. Like this is it. It's because we're focusing so much on the output, not the things that we're doing every single day. We're not being consistent emotionally, physically, mentally. We're not being present in the business. And then we expect the results to happen by themselves. It doesn't. And I'm very happy. Like this is a big realization now. Now with that, let's move on into the business. What's happened within the business? I know like you grew exponentially. Email list grew exponentially. Tell us what happened. Actually, let's be very specific. You said if I were to sign one high ticket client, I would be happy. I remember this statement from the beginning. What happened when it comes to that? What happened with your pricing? What happened with the clients? What happened with that?
Yeah, well, to be specific, I also said, I said at the start of working with you, even on the first call, like the sales call, I said, if I sign one high ticket client in the entire time working with you, this is how bad my money fears were, and this is how much I was underselling myself and had been for years. I said, if I sign one high ticket client up from throughout the entire time working with you, it would be worth it, because it would be a sign that I've broken through something.
Yeah, you did it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think so far I'm on, I think maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But not only that, we've also launched my first paid group program.
How many people?
24.
Last week we were 23. Where did the last one come from? You're still signing up people, man.
Yeah,
That's a surprise
I
to
had one
me.
guy. I had a guy jump in late. He's saying, "Hey, I'll catch up." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, man, whatever." But that's it. Doors are closed because it's just too far now.
Okay.
But yeah, if he knows the deal, he knows that he wants to jump in late and he's got some work to do,
Okay.
then fine.
Okay. That's good, man.
But
That's good.
that was me thinking there'd be like a 3 or 4 person small thing. You know, we'd be jumping on calls every week with like 3 or 4 guys, but it's a
Yeah.
full community on Circle.
24 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful. And before working with us, what did you think High Ticket was? And after working with us?
I
'Cause I
thought
know
high ticket,
your pricing was a bit like
my
shit.
pricing was shocking. Like looking back, I thought to myself, right, I probably wasn't getting great. Well, I knew I wasn't getting great results with clients because the mutual investment was really low.
Yeah.
My price was really low, which meant that my investment was really low energetically, although I couldn't really identify that at the time. But also theirs was too. I was getting clients that weren't really doing the work and whatnot. But now I see that high ticket well, first of all, is not scary,
Yeah.
which it was before. And I also realised that high ticket is it's basically the when I charge high ticket now, I focus more.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it raises my standards for the service that I offer, but it also invites them to commit to themselves in a bigger way. And I think the reason why I'm able to do this with like real integrity is because I invested in working with you as well. So that allowed me to be like, look, you're paying this. I paid more than double for my coach, and it changed my life in exactly the same way that this will for you if you invest and you commit. So it's like the commitment. So I no longer see it as because previously I'd been kind of, I would say in my early career, pretty much fucked over by people that were just salesmen,
Yeah.
right? It's like they sold me on high ticket. I could not afford it really at the time. I was borrowing money. I fucking took out a loan at the bank and all that sort of chaos. And the product and the service was actually so shite, really bad, that I thought, right, I've just been scammed. So I had this kind of belief that, you know, for me not to be like that, I have to be as far away from that as possible. So I thought if I charge high ticket, I'm going to be just like that other asshole.
No.
Which was very all or nothing way of thinking. Whereas now it's like, no, I'll charge high ticket and I will deliver a service that is light years ahead of anything that guy would ever offer. To the point where people who invest it is saying, shit, that's the best money I've ever spent.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, my relationship with high ticket completely changed. Absolutely, like huge.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Okay, so 6 people and 23 people in the group, 24 people. I'm still at the 23. So that's pretty good, man. The channel on YouTube grew from 15 to now 21. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The email list doubled approximately.
Tripled. Yeah, so far. When I first started, it was just under 500. Now it's just under 1,500. So.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, 1,500. I've managed to pump out and create more sort of lead magnets that actually work, that people involved with and they really enjoy. I get feedback from it. And yeah,
and that's what's important. And this is like a small thing that I want to talk about right now, which is like a lot of people don't know what's happening in the back end of your business. When we work with businesses and we want to work with businesses that make an impact, this is exactly what I mean by that. So you get emails from people who you saved their lives. You get emails from people who have gotten this lead magnet that most people think a lead magnet is a negative thing. And they have applied it and now they're in a different level in their lives. So a small part of everything is servitude And yes, you make money, but at the same time, you serve a lot of people and you change a lot of lives and you transform people like in so many different ways, which is fundamentally what we need to look at. And that's very powerful. That's very powerful. A lot of us don't talk about it. A lot of us talk about the numbers. A lot of us talk about the strategies. A lot of us talk about the high ticket clients, which is pretty cool, sexy, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, like how many lives have you actually changed? And a lot, a lot. That's what's important, man. So that's cool. That's cool, Oliver. What are your plans, man, right now? I know you want to go back. Oh, by the way, we left it at cliffhanger. So the vision board that you had, uh, tell people right now what's happening. You're starting to
Yeah,
get the apartment. You planned everything. The dream that was a dream isn't a dream anymore.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, finally actually making it happen. So apartment shopping now. Um, there's always that part of me that's kind of oh, what if I should be living in a different country, etc. So, but I was always afraid of committing, even for 6 months, to living in the same place because I was like, oh, but what if I get the wrong place, kind of thing. Whereas now it's like, well, regardless of what happens, I'll handle it. If I
Yeah,
live in Portugal for 6 months and I'm like, I don't like Portugal anymore, I'll handle it then. One thing I won't do is avoid committing to a place and
yeah,
you know what I mean, just like keep putting it off. So I'm making it happen finally. I'm really excited for it. More excited than I am right now about traveling and seeing more of Thailand. I actually can't wait to get on the flight and come back to England to see my family and then Portugal. Um, but I guess the biggest achievement here is for me something that's very important to me. So my family, my close family, have been going through some financial trouble over the past year. Now, prior to this year, I always felt like wasn't in a great spot myself to help with that, which I always felt a bit of, not shame, but I was kind of like, come on, I can do better.
yeah,
I'm skilled enough. I have the ability. There's no reason why I can't make a bunch of money and help my family.
yeah,
So through this, I was able to do that, relieve a bit of pressure on them. But not only that, now they don't have as much pressure anymore. But I still wanted to give them a gift, really. Um, so before coming to Thailand, I lived in Portugal for a few years, um, but they never came to visit me because of COVID and everything. But this time, I reached out and said to my dad, mate, do you want to come bring my little brother who's 12? Like, do you want to come and visit in the south of Portugal? We'll have a vacation for a week. And he was like,
beautiful.
oh, I'm a bit strapped for cash. I can't really afford the flights and the everything that we need. And I said, no, no, no. Here's what you don't get, mate. I'm paying for everything. But I was like, fuck off. Because each time you vacation at this time of year, it's like the 6 week school holidays. At this time of year, the vacation, flights, the Airbnb for a week, hire,
Yeah,
rent a car, food, the whole shebang. It's not a cheap place. So my dad
yeah,
knows how expensive this would roughly be, and he said, no, no, no. And I said, no, 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 mate, you are forbidden from opening your fucking wallet. I'm paying
yeah.
for everything because you've had a very difficult year, and I wished that I was in a position to help you before. Now I am. Let me gift you this.
I remember that, man. I remember when you started working together. And this is something beautiful. Like after two people start working together, they start to share a lot of personal and vulnerable stuff. And you told me like if I were to achieve something really big, it would be to support my father in some way, shape, or form. So if it wasn't uh, on the top of your awareness, now it is that you've achieved that by itself. Like forget the high ticket stuff, forget the clients, forget all of that. You were able to achieve the two things that you really wanted at the end of the day, which is good.
100%. Taking them, so that's the plan. I'm taking them, my close family, taking them for a vacation in the south of Portugal.
Yeah.
My little brother, he can't see this right now, but my little brother, he Like he's 12 now, but when he was younger, like when he was like 6, 7, 8, I was telling him
Yeah.
that one day we're going to in a camper van and we're going to drive around in a camper van for a week or so. And he has never forgotten it. But this vacation, he thinks we're staying in some shitty hotel because I've lied a bit. I've told him, oh, he's not very good at the moment. Hope it's okay. We're going to be staying in a shitty hotel. And he was just like, all right, I don't mind. It'll be a cool vacation anyway. And I'm like, oh my God. But I've rented a camper van, a fucking sick camper van for like 5 days with solar panels, and it's got like a TV in the back and the whole shebang.
Well,
And it'll be hands down like. And I've also paid to have it parked in the airport for when we arrive, so that when we get out of the airport, I'm just going to casually walk him over to this massive camper van. It's like, oh mate, by the way, this is the shitty hotel room for 5 days. So it's going to freak out. But that's it. I realised that from financially doing pretty well. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? I'm not one of these guys that needs to have. I'm not one of these cringy fucking dudes that has like cigars and whiskey on their Instagram profile, trying to be Andrew Tate, trying to live a lavish Dan Bilzerian lifestyle. It's like that shit that's just, there's no substance to it to me.
Yeah.
What really matters to me is I don't give a fuck how much money is in my account. I care how happy my family are. Are they safe? Are they well? Do they have to worry about money? And if I can do something about that, then it's like, well, why the fuck wouldn't I? You know what I mean? Whereas now I'm in a place where I can genuinely help them. So.
Yeah, man. That's what people miss. That's what people miss. When people build businesses, they build businesses for a lot of selfish reasons. But in reality, like what drives us at the core of our being is the service that we can bring to the people that we love. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and look, there's one last thing I want to just say because it's quite important part of it.
Yeah.
I think the last time, like it was only like a couple of months, like a month or so ago, maybe a bit longer, where something really changed. I noticed there was a part of me that wanted, the sexy stuff, like wanted the money, that didn't want to do anything of real substance. And I was thinking at that point, I should be dive into copywriting and be a copywriter for tech brands and earn loads of money.
I remember that, yes.
And I was thinking, I should do that. I shouldn't do coaching. I shouldn't do this messy emotional work. It's all just all over the place. I should be this copywriter. And in my mind, I had this idea of like, I can avoid all the messy stuff and just be a cool, clean copywriter, making like 10, 20K a month. Don't have to deal with any of the messy stuff. But then in a conversation with you, it kind of highlighted for me, like what would I care the most about when on my deathbed, for example? What would I be most content and fulfilled with? If I was on my deathbed and I was looking back and I was like, well, thank God all these tech brands earn more money because of me. God forbid, like thank God, that's my legacy.
Yeah.
Whereas around the time when I was considering jumping to copywriting, I had a client who I worked with for a few sessions, and on like session 4, he told me that when he first came to see me, he was actually having suicidal thoughts.
I remember that, yeah.
And after working with me for a little bit and just getting some fucking encouragement and just putting a treatment plan, gym, doing all the habits, and he's sticking to it. Completely kicked those suicidal ideations. He's now doing way better. And I'm like, that's the kind of shit that I would be on my deathbed thinking about. It's like, what mark have I made on the world? Have I made some tech brand richer? I don't give a fuck about how rich tech brands are. I truly don't. Like, do I care about if a guy who was going to top himself or who was going to live a painful existence or whatever, do I care whether those guys have improved their lives? They've got married, they've had kids, and they've been better fathers and stuff. And like, that's the shit that's really gonna, I guess selfishly, I'm gonna feel better about. But it's the mark I want to have on the world, and I think that's one of the things that makes me feel more in integrity.
That goes back to the alignment that we were talking about in the beginning of the call, man. That goes back to the alignment. And when you got more aligned, I remember like last month, when you got more aligned, like your videos are popping up, literally. Like there isn't any video that's not performing. Your 24 clients in literally a couple of weeks. So I would say a big lesson that someone can get out of this is integrity, is alignment, is working with doing the work that you're afraid of doing because you know that it's gonna be of greater service, and not following the shiny stuff, not following the sexy stuff, because very rarely does it lead anywhere.
That's exactly it. You said at the right time. You reminded me of a quote that I kind of like to live by, but I had forgotten about it at the time.
Yeah.
Which is the something, what you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding, right?
Yeah.
And I was there thinking, oh, I can't do this messy emotional stuff. It's too messy. That was just me trying to avoid confronting my own messy stuff.
Yeah.
Which, if I had gone in the copywriting route, that shit would have followed me anyway. So it wouldn't have even worked. But I was trying to escape it. But through diving deeper into it, like this program I've kicked off, it's about healing the father wound. That means that means I'm leading a group of 24 men in looking at an area of their life that potentially is very painful, which means me looking at that area of my life myself, because I can't lead something if I've not done it and don't continue to do it. So I was avoiding it. But by avoiding it, I was avoiding my deepest truth and my greatest gift.
When you stopped, floodgates opened.
Yeah.
Beautiful. طيب, Oliver. Let's just finish it off with one thing, which is like, what is something that you got out of this experience that you didn't expect to get out of the experience? And by the way, we still didn't end the experience. We're still going on, but like for now, let's just say for now.
What did I get out of it? One thing I didn't expect to get out of it is how this calmness and this confidence affected every other area of my life as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember the last time I felt anxious on a date.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to people, there isn't this like voice that's just keeps talking in the background in my mind, questioning everything I'm doing, and people think you look weird. Why did you say that? Oh God, you'd be too quiet. You should talk. Oh, you're talking too. You know what I mean? Like, that has been with me for God knows how long. But now when I'm just around people socially, there's almost sometimes there's no thoughts going on. Sometimes just like, fully present, completely just like, here I am.
This is power. Yeah.
It's something I got that I didn't expect to get.
Yeah. This is power. This is presence. Okay, man. Thanks for that. We'll stay in touch. We're gonna have, now you're gonna go for 6 months and go into the focus zone. So I believe we're gonna do even more magic in that focus zone. So we're gonna have V2 of this, but for now, that's what we're gonna get. Let's keep on going, and we'll stay in the loop. Cool.
Sounds good.
Awesome, Oliver. Thank you, man. I'll see you on next week.
Yep, looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, man. See you. Bye-bye.